Yeah, it's weird.
Hello, kiddies. It's me, your old pal, the Crypt Keeper. And you're watching Rottin Roger DeMarco. 3 B's. Blood, boobs, and beasts. Roger, you beast. You're a bloody boob.
Hello, internet fans. It's your old pal Rottin Roger DeMarco here from 3bproductionco.com. And this week, we're going to be looking at Brett Leonard's 1989 film, The Dead Pit. Always moving my hands, because I think you're going to see me. So, here is the plot breakdown. Dr. Colin Ramsey is this crazy psycho who's secretly performing experiments on these mental patients. And he gets busted and murdered and then sealed up in the basement of this psychiatric ward. Fast forward a few years, the spirit of Dr. Ramsey breaks out of the basement and starts his research all over again with a bunch of fucking zombies. It's a weird plot, it's a little muddy, but it's a super fun movie. So that's the plot in a nutshell. Dead doctor, back to life, killing people in the hospital. Follow? Okay. Before we get into my overall thoughts of the film and all of that stuff, first, let's take a look at
Rottin Roger's Splatter Facts.
We have 11 dead bodies. We have 2 regular titties plus 1 zombie titty. So we have 3 titties. We have an ice pick lobotomy. We have brawless hallway running. We have rotoscoped evil eyes. And we have miniature flooding. Yeah, can't really flood a real set. Build a little one, dump water on it. Looks good. You can't tell, can you? I can. The methods of death include, but are not limited to, gunshot, lobotomized, strangled, off-screened, torn apart, decapitated, and blown up. Okay, so now on to my overall thoughts of this film. I gotta say, I do really like this movie, but it takes some coaxing for me to get into this movie. I don't know what it is. I love the cover art to this movie, so I always used to pick it up at the video store and always used to be like, man, what is this? I remember renting it at a very early age and just kind of not really being into it. It took some years. I had to put some space between me and that first experience and went back. There are times that I really, really have a blast with this movie, and then there are other times where I just kind of feel like it drags on a little bit. It depends on the mood that I'm in. I will say that I love the style of this film. Feels very much like an Italian horror film. It's got a great neon, psychedelic, super fucking rad color palette. Everything is green or blue or purple. It just has this vibe, like an Argento film or a Fulci film. It's so stylized, and it's a simple plot. Italian films like The Beyond would do stuff like that, where it starts out as a whole different type of film, and then in the last reel becomes a zombie film. One of the things that immediately sticks out when you start this movie is that it has a crazy long credit sequence. It feels like 15 minutes. I'm not sure the exact runtime, but it does one of those things where it shows 20, 30 seconds of a movie and then goes black screen, credit. 20, 30 more seconds of a movie, credit. When the movie kicks off, there's a girl who comes to the psychiatric ward. They don't know her name. She has amnesia. We have this girl, Jane Doe, in this hospital who knows she's not crazy. Why is she in a psychiatric ward? Because she has amnesia. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but she's gonna undergo these treatments, and she swears she wasn't in an accident. Someone stole her memory, which makes her sound like a fucking loon. So they keep her locked up, and then, spoiler alert, come to find out, said dead crazy doctor previously stole her memory. The things that I really like about this movie, it's super sleazy, over the top, hyper violent. The color palette's crazy. Jane Doe without a bra, running around for 90% of the movie. Seriously, I think when you get checked into a psychiatric hospital, and if you're not drooling on yourself, they're gonna dress you sexy. I don't understand how everybody else in the hospital, they look like crazy people. They're in long nightgowns, they're scratching holes in their heads, eating pencils or whatever crazy people do, and then Jane Doe is just running around in her underwear and a cut-off white shirt, and it's cold in the hospital the entire time. A fun observation about this movie, which tends to be about every horror movie hospital. I don't know why they do this in horror movies, but you know how people are in a hospital and it's super dimly lit, even though if you've ever been into a real hospital, there's lights every 6 feet. It's super bright. Well, this movie takes it a step further. Not only is it a dark hospital, but instead of regular light bulbs, they're green light bulbs. I know that that's to give it that style and to give it that color palette, but what fucking hospital has one green light bulb in the middle of the hallway ever? It looks cool. Yes. Practical? No. Nurses are gonna trip. Patients are gonna trip. You're gonna lose your hair scrunchie or your paper clip. You're never gonna find it. It's dark as fuck in there. When I was growing up, again, I would see this cover art at the movie store all the time. It was one of those movies that I don't know whether it was like a dirty little secret or nobody had ever just taken the time to watch it. That was part of the mystery. When I was a kid, I would ask the employee, have you seen this? No. It's one of those movies that you need to discover. Go on this ride and have fun with how completely strange and bonkers this movie is. If you're into killer doctor movies, possessed killer doctor, zombie man with red eyes, it's a weird blend of everything that I love, but for some reason doesn't nail it all for me, but it's fun. So I don't want to say anything super negative about it. I think I put this movie up on such a pedestal when I was a kid that when I finally got to see it as an adult, it didn't live up to everything. But that's not to say that you will not be blown away by it. There's tons of great things in this movie. A killer doctor or a zombie movie. It sort of marries the two, but it feels like an Italian movie, but it's sleazy like an American 80s horror movie. But I think the biggest issue for me is it sort of has a pacing issue. It seems like it should be fairly rapid fire. These things should happen, these things should upset you. We're gonna present you the problem, we're gonna present you the solution, we're gonna fight through the monsters. Oh, happy day. But it takes so long to get there. That's not negative. I'm not saying that's not a, well, it's kind of a bad thing. It has a lot of redeeming factors. 2 in particular. And the killer doctor does this, and it's not an homage. This shit is plagiarism. The killer doctor, Colin Ramsey, straight up pulls the Michael Myers. Every time the lead character looks out the window at night, he's standing there looking up into the window. She does one of those guffaw. He's gone tons of times, not just once. Let's just keep the gag going. But this movie does have some really redeeming gore effects. This movie has some awesome zombie fight stuff going on. I do like the look of Dr. Ramsey. I like the rotoscoped eyes. I like the scrubs. I like the doctor mask and then pull it down and be sort of disfigured and nasty, you know, because if you were to see him in the hallway with the mask and the slick back hair, looks like a normal dude, takes the mask off and you go, okay, we're in trouble. Okay, so there are 2 issues I have with the movie. Pacing is 1. There's a lull somewhere in the middle. I'm not real sure. I can't pinpoint it, but there's just a little bit of a lull that affects me. And number 2, spoiler alert, the other issue I have is with the resolution of the film. They figure out you create holy water, it can kill the zombie. There's always some way to dispatch the monsters or whatever, and this movie plays with that a little bit. So this movie has its own set of rules for dispatching zombies, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what she is. She's a nun, the lady that knows religion in the psychiatric ward, and she blesses water for them. Well, then she blesses the water tower. This is where you can check out if you don't want to know what happens. But for you that just stuck around, the plan is to lure the zombies to the water tower. The 2 leads, Jane Doe and her love interest that works at the hospital, are gonna plant explosives on the water tower and blow it up. But they climb the water tower. Their plan is to climb the water tower, blow themselves up, and kill the zombies. I don't understand that plan, and this is just, maybe I'm thinking too much into this. Couldn't you just take the same explosives and put them at the bottom of the water tower and blow off the legs and kill all the monsters and still survive? Couldn't you do that? If it's strong enough to blow up a water tower, it could probably blow up water tower more legs. Science, bitch. That's how bombs work. Those are the two gripes that I have about this movie, but this movie's super fun. Tits, gore, a monster, a decent body count, zombies. Some people aren't really zombie fans, but that's okay because this is just main act zombies. And they're different. You gotta spray them with holy water like Bordello of Blood or From Dusk Till Dawn. Those are vampire movies. Why? That's holy water's for vampires, not for zombies. The Italians got their wires crossed somewhere. In my personal opinion, as far as a rating goes, this movie is a popcorn movie. This movie is for your Saturday nights. This is a weird movie that needs to be seen with a group of people. Turn on some black lights like weirdos and watch this movie with a bunch of people and have a blast. But it's important to see. It can't disappear. It needs to be in your library. It needs to be revisited, seen, respected, all of those things, because it's fun. And that's what we're all about. We're all about having fun with our movies. So in my personal opinion, my rating for this is that it's absolutely popcorn as fuck. It's a movie that you know exactly what you're getting. Well, you don't know exactly what you're getting into. It's weird, but you want to go for the ride. You want to have some fun with that late 80s vibe, permed mullets and acid wash jeans and giant tits, monsters, cool ass zombie makeup, cool gore effects. You need to see this 100%. You can find a way to see this movie, and you definitely should. So I will put a link in the description. Fuck it, if you feel like spending serious coin on this weird ass movie, click the link in the description and get a copy of The Dead Pit today. But I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there, and somebody's gotta watch them. So why not me, right?